How is it going, everyone? Welcome to the May 5th, 2022 edition of Bourbon-n-Blockchain Happy Hour. Tonight, I am joined by Draco and Myron. How's your guys' week going?
Yeah, it's going good. It's outside of being pump faked by the market. It's been a great week.
Myron, you were on vacation. How'd that go?
Yeah, it's good. I'm in the Smoky Mountains right now, so it's
All
supposed to
right.
be rainy all week, but it's been clear so far, so that's been great. And I'm just like on my phone trying to get signal, trying to watch the markets as we're hiking. DJ lifestyle, man.
Nice, nice. Well, I guess we'll start with the markets like we always do. What are you guys seeing in this Bitcoin market? It doesn't look too good.
Blood. um, you know, I think we all kind of knew that there was the potential for it to dip down pretty hard, especially if you're listening to technical analysis. There's a lot of people that were saying that we're going to go down. Nobody really knows how far down we're going to go, but I think this is building up for a long term, potential bull run. And I was listening to some technical analysis today, and I am not a technical analysis person. I'm trying my best to learn. But if you zoom out, like pretty far, like if you look at like the last, I don't even know. If you look at maybe like look at the one day and then zoom out, maybe keep going, keep going. I would zoom out for almost like a year. So what we're gonna see is that when we came into the market in 2020, we had like a pump and we had a little mini dump. All right, like that looks good right there. Do you see how there's like that double top right there? You've got like a
Yeah.
double top, and then you've got it kind of coming back down. And what I've been kind of hearing and what people have been saying that I've been listening to is that there's like I don't remember the exact terminology, so don't beat me up for it, but they're looking at a potential double top dome situation where you test, and then you accumulate, which right now all of the metrics are saying we're accumulating. There's a lot of money coming into Bitcoin, but because of all these other things and a lot of retail sale pressure, it's keeping the price down. And what this could mean is a very, very sharp uptrend, like you saw at the beginning of 2021, end of 2020. If you look back and you can see that huge green, 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 green going straight up, that's something that we could potentially see again if we continue to accumulate as much as we have. But how long it's going to take to get to that point, I don't think anybody knows.
Myron, what are your thoughts on this market right now?
So right now, I kind of not. I'm more so look at the SP 500 and Nasdaq than crypto. I kind of look at like those charts. Then I'll say if those charts are bullish, then I'll start looking for crypto longs. So I'm not because I think crypto right now follows the market. So it doesn't. I feel like there's maybe a slight delay, or maybe it's just there's so much algo now. There's not really a delay. But so the stock market this week is crazy because the Fed talk. This is the first rate raise we had, and I think we've been talking about it for the past week or so. That if the Fed comes in with the expectation of the 0.5% raise, the market may rally, and it did rally yesterday. I mean, it went up extremely fast towards the end of the day, but today we sold all that off and more. So like we dropped even lower than we were from the lows of yesterday. So this market is insanely crazy. I've been reading some things about this market. I like technical. I think technical is really important, but I also kind of love the fundamental side or just the macro side of the markets. Because I think like if you purely look at technicals and you don't know some of the things like, okay, this company has earning, this company does that. It doesn't really apply so much. That earning stuff doesn't apply in crypto. But I mean, if you get a big news for crypto, I think there's a while ago, ZIL had a huge drop because they got news, and some other coins got. I think Algo got some news this week, but so this market is extremely turbulent. And I've been reading something about the guy saying that so yesterday, if you're short the market, I think maybe there's still a decent amount of shorts in the market. You got completely crushed on your short positions. But if you got long on the market yesterday towards the end of the day, you're saying, hey, we're having a rally. The Fed is not that aggressive on the rates. And you got long yesterday, you got crushed today on your longs. So both sides are getting crushed. And they say in the bear markets, it's extremely hard to play. But basically, this means that whoever's, the market maker, whatever it is, there's a big moving coming, and only a certain people will be able to catch that move. It could be a huge move to the upside, or it could be a huge move to the downside. And the thing is, if you're not convicted in your position, you're probably gonna get stopped out, or you're doing like short-term swing trades or even day trades. You can probably make money if you're really good at technical analysis, but if not, hold to your conviction, whether you are long or short, and just hold true to that conviction until something fundamentally changes. Because this much volatility, if you have stop losses in that, it's gonna hit your stop loss, maybe go the other direction, even if you're long or short. So this market, either if you're not, if people who are not experienced trading this, either you trade really small or just stay out of it, or like Draco said, accumulate. If you truly believe that Bitcoin in the long term, maybe a couple of years from now will be higher than here, but it could be possible it drops to 30,000, low 30s, or even 20,000 before it makes that huge move. So whatever you're in, you have to have that conviction right now.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point. And when it comes to specifically like Bitcoin, I think if you're looking at a long-term 4-year plan, the price doesn't matter right now, and if it gets low, it offers you an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin. So if you're looking at it that way, these are just opportunities. Don't sweat the price.
Yep.
Yeah, and the headlines keeps showing us there's a lot of reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin long term. So this article I'm pulling up now, a bank called, or the country of Liechtenstein, I couldn't tell you where it is on a map, but their largest private bank is allowing you to hold Bitcoin and Ethereum now. So this is the first bank we've seen, at least, that's letting you hold cryptocurrency the same way you would hold cash. It's not an ETF, but they're actually holding your coins for you. So I think this is a big deal because a lot of people are scared or don't know how to buy crypto, and so this is going to give them exposure to holding the actual coins. Draco, what's your thought on this?
Well, for anybody that's been listening, I've been talking about this for a little while. I've been saying, personally, I've been thinking that this is something that's going to be a trend, and it's going to kick off a lot of adoption. It's going to be crazy for this market. And if you look right on in this article, it says, there's a quote: "We're very pleased that we can now offer our clients convenient access to these markets while upholding the highest security standards. We worked intensively for this offering, blah, blah, blah." What they're saying and what they're doing is exactly what we've been saying. They are allowing you to get into crypto. You're buying actual Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's what they're offering. You don't have to worry. If you go down to the next part of it, it says LGT explained the rules, blah, blah, blah. LGT clients won't have to worry about private keys or passwords, as the banks will store their holdings. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is the first place to do it. Liechtenstein is between Switzerland and Germany. It's a smaller country. It's not very big, but that's huge. It's in the UK, and they're the first ones to do it that I'm aware of, to offer it to their clients that are just regular bankers, individuals that are part of that banking system. And I think this is a big, big deal. And if this catches on, which I'm 100% convinced that it will, more and more banks will buy crypto to offer to their customers, and customers will only accept actual Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're not going to accept synthetics. They're not going to accept derivatives or paper. They're going to only accept the real thing. This is huge. This is one of the 3 things that I think are going to literally take Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto to the moon. This is big news.
Now, Myron, I know you wouldn't use this. You would hold your own coins in a MetaMask, but are there people that aren't in crypto that you think would get into crypto if they could store it in a bank?
This is why I'm more so curious on like what's the interest rate they're paying out, and I feel like could this be like one of this, you store your money into the banks, and the bank take your money and lend it out for way higher interest, and they give you 0.1% on your money. So I'm curious what they're doing here. I mean, it's good that they're letting you store the crypto, but I feel like, one, I would like to see maybe a little bit higher interest rate, because they can take that and probably use it in. They probably have places where they can lend out for pretty decent amount of interest. So this could be a way for the bank to make money, but I want to see a little bit of that passed on to the consumer. And I also think, this gets into the point where I think Draco is also a huge proponent for this, to hold your own coins rather than having it on a centralized exchange or even in a bank. So this is great. I think it's all positive news. But I think for the normal people, maybe it's another way for them to say, hey, look, these huge banks are doing it. It's getting more legitimacy. But I think for the people who have been in this space a while, this is just, it's a good news, good for the sentiment, but we're not going to use it. We're just going to hold our own coins, and we're going to use it our own way.
Yeah, and I think that this is a great way to get other generations, if you will. I don't want to offend anybody based off their age or anything like that. Like, I think there's a whole group of people that don't want to learn how to use a hard wallet. They don't want to keep all their passwords. They know that cryptos has security risks, because that's one of the only things that ever makes the news, is people losing their funds in crypto. So I think this is going to appease to a different level of individual or investor. So I think that's a good thing. Do I think this is the best way to own cryptocurrency? No, but I think it's going to definitely bring more and more people into it. And I think that the way the bank is going to make their money, they're going to offer a percentage of return on this, no matter what it is, even if it was, your typical bank returns, even if it's 0.5, 0.05 or 0.5% or whatever it is, they'll still make money, because they're going to charge you fees to do trades, like to buy it and put it in your wallet, and they're going to charge you custodial fees, and they're going to probably insure it up to $1 million or whatever it's going to be, right? Just like in the United States, where something is FDIC insured, and they're going to charge you for all of that, and that's how they're going to make their money. So this is the way for banks to stay relevant in a crypto world. If they don't do stuff like this, the reason why I'm so bullish, and I think that this is going to be big, and all the banks are going to do this, because if they don't, they're going to get left behind and they're going to fail. So they have to do this. If they don't do this, banks will become irrelevant and they will lose money. This is the only way they can stay relevant.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a good deal. I think what the banks are going to like about this is the crypto will be so easy for them to lend out. Like, my understanding of the old traditional banking system is you would store your gold or your cash to the bank. The bank would lend that out. They'd make a profit on that. Then they'd pay the customer a little bit of interest. Crypto is so easy for these banks to lend out once they get the hang of it. I think it'll be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Bank FOMO, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So our favorite person to talk about is the ultimate crypto influencer, Elon Musk. He's in the news with several items today. The first one we're going to talk about is Binance has committed $500 million to co-invest into Twitter with Elon Musk. So Binance is going to have some influence over how Twitter works. Myron, what do you think Binance is going to use their influence for as far as Twitter goes?
Twitter is also already so huge for, with I think most of the crypto stuff, crypto influencers with the crypto Twitter, they already have so much space on Twitter. I only use Twitter pretty much just for crypto information, and all the people I follow are pretty much all crypto related. I know there's just a small, that's just a small niche in the Twitter space, but I think that they see this as, hey man, we can get now that Elon's opening up and Elon's generally pretty positive about about crypto, maybe they see this opportunity for them to really expand, really to get more reach.
What do you think, Draco? My thoughts on this kind of are the way you can sign up for certain services with Facebook. We know that Elon kind of wants to get all humans to kind of dox themselves a little bit and officially sign up. I don't think he's going to require that, but he wants to encourage it. Do you think we'll see something where you can sign up for Binance directly with your Twitter account, which could get more people onboarded or something like that?
Yeah, I think this might be a play to monetize a little bit more of Twitter by connecting it maybe to an online exchange, whether it's Binance or Coinbase or something like that. I think that might be part of this. But from my understanding as well is that there's a huge push, and one of those pushes is coming from people like the individuals, investors from Binance, is to make Twitter decentralized, to make it into like a DAO where nobody actually controls it, and there's still a whole bunch of funds and people making money on it. So yeah, I think that there's I don't know. I think that there's more than one play going on here, in my opinion. I think obviously Binance wants to be a part of it, but I think they're trying to move it more towards a decentralized model.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if you pay 500 million, you're definitely going to have some influence. You're going to have a seat at the table, so it'll be interesting to see. But Twitter is definitely going to be more crypto friendly. So, and then Elon's in the news again. So soon as this deal closes with Twitter, they say it's going to take a few months. He's going to be the interim CEO. And already we're kind of seeing, he's almost a political figure now. Not that he wanted to become one, but we're kind of seeing a lot of hit pieces on him now. I don't know. Do you think it's going to be the current thing to make Elon Musk like the next polarizing figure, to make him a bad guy to one side of the political aisle and a hero to the other side? Is that where this is going, Draco?
I mean, I think that's already happened. I mean, if you look at the response from people when Elon took over, right? I mean, it was crazy, and it really showed a lot of people's true colors, which is funny to me. Like, especially when it came to political figureheads that were making comments on Elon Musk in his biddings and what he's doing with his finances. I mean, what is going on here? People lost their minds, and I think that as much as people want to make this something that's not political, it's very political. Especially when you see all of the people losing their minds, that Twitter's losing control over what goes on in what is considered by most people as being the town square of the world. I mean, that's what it's being called, is the town square of the world. And when it's not being moderated or policed by a specific group, people are upset about that. That should show you a lot.
Myron, what do you think? Where's this going?
I haven't actually, since I don't really follow anyone that's outside of the crypto community. Have you guys seen that? Have you guys been noticing there's, I guess, more freedom of speech? Well, not really, because I guess the things I look at are not really political view anyways, so I don't really notice it as much. Are you guys seeing that? I'm not sure if
You know
this
what?
change actually.
You know what I've noticed is I've seen a lot more people that were like feel like they have the ability to say what they want to say without being in fear that they're going to get dropped, or like they're going to lose their status on Twitter and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that I've seen a lot more people being more expressive, but then again, I like pretty much 99.9% of what I follow is in crypto. But even in crypto, you have individuals that are huge figureheads that are making comments saying, how have we gotten to this point? Why would we ever be anti-free speech? It makes no sense. One of the people in the group just said moderation is another way of saying censorship. How could we ever be pro censorship? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's not what we've been built on. That's not what we're founded on. So just even crypto people making those comments, it's like, this seems like it's common sense to a lot of people. But then when you kind of, zoom out a little bit or look at the comments under that, there's an entire other group of people that are saying, no, that's wrong. I don't know. It's confusing to me. I always thought that, we had a freedom of speech, but apparently we were all wrong.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Freedom of speech is a political issue, and I mean, there's always going to be people that want the other side censored, or at least in this case, it looks like you had kind of a more of a left-wing bias on Twitter for the last few years, and they enjoyed that a lot, and they definitely don't want to lose that. And Elon, I mean, you've seen him historically; he's been Democrat on some issues and Republican on some issues, but
Yep.
just having a guy in the middle is kind of freaking a lot of people out. It's very strange to watch.
Have you seen the
what?
one where he was like dancing with his mom and people were posting
Yeah.
about that? That was hilarious. He was like, my whole portfolio rides on this man. And other people's like, this is the richest man in the world right now.
And not, my last comment on this is, I think that a lot of people want to make everybody think that everybody is on one side or the other when it comes to some sort of politics. And I think that's completely wrong. I think that your average person, most people, have ideas or thoughts that are, on both sides, and that's fine. Everybody can do that. But when a billionaire is like that and says, you know what, I feel this way about this policy and this way about this policy, but when it comes to free speech, this is how I feel about it. And people say, oh my God, this is insane. To me, I don't understand it. People are allowed to have free thought and be on whatever side of the aisle they want to be and not be constricted to one specific thing. So I mean, that's just kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, growing up, we were always taught the marketplace of ideas. America's about the marketplace of ideas, and the best ideas. You have to have faith that the best ideas will rise to the top. And it's kind of like this new idea, this new generation is being taught that no, you got to censor people who disagree with you. And it's really kind of sad to watch us degenerate into that. But Elon is kind of a beacon of hope that we'll go back to free speech, regardless of what your opinions are. Everybody can just kind of duke it out in a debate
Exactly.
online, and the best ideas hopefully over the long haul will prevail.
Absolutely.
But on a lighter note, another Elon Musk story is he changed his Twitter profile pic to a Bored Ape. Myron, I know you're very big into this NFT project. Is Elon Musk the biggest influencer in crypto?
He's the biggest. Yeah, he is. And the thing is, not right now, not as much, but back in the day when he first started tweeting, I mean, his tweets moved markets by billions, and his tweet moved the Bored Ape, the Ape coin, by a lot. It pumped huge right when he changed his profile picture to the collage. Then he came out with with that one. Seems kind of fungible. Then it dumped. See, I I like Elon in some ways. I think this is what we've talked about over and over, but I still have doubts about him. And the thing is, what I'm kind of sick of is he has a cult following. There's people who take advantage of that, and there's people who just does whatever he says. And I think there's a huge cult in Tesla right now. And people can argue that Tesla is undervalued, Tesla is cheap right now. Tesla's right now is worth like more than the top 10 or more automakers combined. It's worth more than that but people can say, hey, it's a technology company, it's an AI company, it's green, all this. That's why it's so overvalued. I think there's a huge cult in Tesla, and I think a lot of these people, when they get into a stock that moves like Tesla, that went up so much since 2020, that's when it really blew up. I think people are kind of into that group think where they say, hey, Tesla's got to be good. And there's a company called Upstart. I remember that it was going up to like the $400 range, and the guy was on TV talking, oh, this is the best company ever. And the anchor asked the guy, he's like, hey, what does Upstart do? And the guy's like, what? Huh? Oh, wait, I can't hear you. You're cutting out. Like, he has no idea what it does, but it's just like chasing this. So Elon has a cult following, and they do whatever he does. Like, if he changes his, if he posts about some random coin, whatever, like, it's gonna pump. I think we mentioned a long time ago, he wrote Canadian Truckers Rule on one of his tweets, and there was a coin that came out that's called Canadian Truckers Rule, and that thing pumped hard. Of course, it dumped. So like I'm sick of this type of market. Like, is it market manipulation? Not really, because I don't think he's like profiting off of this. But I'm sick of how he's moving the markets like this.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think it's great.
The Elon pump's dangerous. I mean, we saw on Saturday Night Live, he pumped Dogecoin, and then the next day it crashed, right?
A lot of people lost a lot of money on Dogecoin. Now, I know a lot of people made a lot of money on Dogecoin, but the thing is, a lot of people also lost a lot on Dogecoin. Yeah. Because these coins have no utility, right? Like, just like, I don't know if you guys talked about Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. They had the shareholder call meeting this week or last week. Mm-hmm. They're talking about like he wouldn't buy Bitcoin for like $20, all Bitcoin. I mean, there's a reason to that argument. If you give me all Bitcoin, it's useless because I have to sell it, right? So like Dogecoin, things like that, there's no value. Like, you can't use Dogecoin to buy anything. You can only use it if other people realize it has value, which is kind of like fiat currency. I admit that, but the thing is, like, with all those people who's getting rich, but the thing is, when the coin falls down, from the 70s into like, I guess, like in the teens now, like, there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money also. So is that really healthy? I don't know. It's a free market, I guess. So you make your own decision, but still, I don't really like it in that sense.
So I want to make two comments about the Warren Buffett thing really quick. Number one, the argument he made is a straw man argument. The reason why it's a straw man argument is because you could make that exact same argument for any asset in the world. You name it. Give me an asset, a currency, a commodity, anything. So let me say, if I snap my fingers and all the gold in the world was in your basement, all of it, every single little bit of it, would that make you rich? No, because now you have all of it. So
I guess there's minor arguments that the gold can be used for something. Let's
Right. Okay.
like
So yeah. So like, okay. So let's say the U.S. dollar. Like if you had all the U.S. dollars,
yes.
right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a an actual currency, right? So I guess a
Hmm.
currency would be the best way to put it, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
I mean, it's a straw man argument, and the reason why he's doing that is just to shit on the token and to shit on the project. But here's the thing: if you really think about it, and this is my personal opinion, the reason why he's doing that is because he's waiting this, and I've been saying this for weeks. He's waiting for institutional acceptance and laws. He's waiting for everything to be ironed out by the US government so that he can invest into it. All of these huge institutions, these trillionaires, multi-trillionaires, are waiting for their ability to buy in and price everybody else out of the market. If you don't think that's what they're doing, you're way behind. All of these people that have way more money than all of us combined are just chomping at the bit to buy into this. And how do I know that? Because all of these huge companies are investing in crypto in every single way possible without actually buying crypto. They're backing all of these companies. They're backing Binance. They're backing Coinbase. They're backing mining companies. They're backing companies that are working in marketing with crypto. I mean, there's 1,000 different things that they're investing into where they don't actually have to put their fingers into crypto because they can't. But once they're able to, once everything's regulated by the U.S. government, if you think that now is a good price or Bitcoin's high at $70,000, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yep. And I want to also mention, his business partner, Charlie Munger, who has even stronger opinions about crypto, basically calling anyone who owns the Bitcoin a vermin. But the thing is, you have to think about this guy. Some people really admire him. I think he probably has some good business ideas and things like that, his viewpoints. But the thing is, this person, he talks, like he said this. He said, "Man, um, the Chinese government is doing such a good job because they banned crypto, they banned all this stuff, and we didn't ban it. So the Chinese government is doing a good job." You're like, well, it's like Charlie, they banned it because people are moving money out of China, and they're banning it to prevent that for the most part. It's not because crypto is a bad thing. It's a bad thing because they can't control it, and
Yeah,
they
because
also
they can't control them and they can't control the people.
exactly. And then he also said another thing where he was talking about, he also made a big bet on Alibaba, China's Amazon, essentially. And he's like, oh, this is the greatest company and things like that. It's very undervalued, and dropped a whole bunch, like $300 into 80 something dollars, and he sold, a big chunk of his stake. And it's just like the things he says, right? Some of the stuff I think on the traditional business side is very good, but when it gets into like the crypto side, and he also praises Federal Reserve. He said Jerome Powell is doing such a good job in the Federal Reserve, and he's basically you're making his job harder by doing these crypto stuff, trying to make crypto legitimate when Jerome Powell and the US dollar is hurting the US dollar and Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. It's like, man, Jerome Powell, to me, is a crook because he printed us. Like, inflation is because Federal Reserve. It's not because of Russia, right? So he's
Right.
making all these statements. I'm just like, dude, Charlie Munger. Like, I know I'm not as rich as him. I'll probably never will be as rich as him. But man, like, some of your statements sound crazy, man. Like, why are you praising the Chinese government for doing? It's just a little crazy to me. So that following into like crypto is like, then I don't really care what you guys think about crypto because I'm bullish on it. I like it, and I think just like you said, Draco, either they're sinister in the way that they're trying to slowly load up on it, or they just completely don't understand it.
They don't need to understand it for it to be successful.
Yep, exactly.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. Some of you guys, if you guys follow politics, you might remember Anthony Scaramucci. He was
Mooch.
yeah, he was Trump's.
The
He was Trump's biggest ally, and then Trump's like biggest enemy. Halfway through the presidency. But the reason why he's important for purposes of crypto is he founded a hedge fund company called Skybridge, and they manage $7 billion worth of assets. So he's got his opinion on crypto. He came out and said that he thinks all the presidential candidates are going to be pro crypto. Do you guys think the political landscape is going to be like that in the next presidential cycle? Do you think we'll see all pro crypto presidential candidates on both sides, or what do you think the political landscape is going to be for crypto come the 2024 presidential cycle?
I'm going to say yes, and the unfortunate thing is Donald Trump's going to have to change his tone because he started off with not liking it. I think he said that Bitcoin and crypto was a scam. That was the last I heard. I don't know if he's changed his stance since. But I do think that the next presidential candidate is going to need to embrace crypto in order to gain a huge following of people. Look right there. Congress is indicating that they are more crypto friendly. You now also have 73 million people that own cryptocurrency. So if you are anti-crypto, that's like a political dagger. I mean, you can't be anti-crypto. That would be horrible for your where you stand. So I think yes is my answer, and I think it'll be hilarious if we have debates where people's like, oh, no, I'll hand out crypto. I don't care. I'll give everybody crypto. I think it's going to get funny, but I think that the funny thing is too that also falls in line with the Bitcoin cycle. So the Bitcoin halving cycles in 2024. Just something to think about.
Yeah, Trump has his bases covered because he called Bitcoin a scam, but then Melania came out with an NFT. So
right, yeah, maybe he's warming up to it.
What do you think, Myron?
So I agree with exactly what Draco said, that even if they're not really for it, they'll be for crypto just to get a lot of votes. I think majority of people, the common people, are probably for crypto. And of course, you'll have people that's always against it, but I think you will get a lot of votes from it. And so I think it's a good thing. And so there's a thing called Elliott wave theory, and so people can say it's very subjective. I do think it's very subjective, but basically there's 5 waves. There's impulsive waves up and wave down and things like that. But long story short is that the wave theory kind of talks about that the events kind of follow the waves. So because when I was first looking into it, this one guy, I was asking him, I was like, what if like major events happen and news happen and different, like how would that affect your wave counts? Like if you already have it, it's like, oh, we're gonna make it wave up now. He's like, well, if you're like on the impulsive where you're going up, like positive news is gonna have more impact as negative news, maybe not as much, but in general, he's like the events almost seem to happen around these like waves. So that's a theory. A lot of people disagree with it. A lot of people say Elliott wave is completely subjective. It's completely useless. But it's really hard to come when you're trading with technical analysis to really have something that's, oh, I know this works exactly every single time. But what I want to say by saying all that is what Draco brought up. It's incredibly crazy that 2024 is the election where a lot of these candidates are going to be probably talking about crypto, along with the halving cycle, which is already bullish, extremely bullish, right? It pumps into that halving.
Get your Bitcoin before the halving.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Probably load up before 2024 because man, it may pop off hard.
Mark my words. Yeah, mark my words. I think your average retail investor will not be able to afford an entire Bitcoin after 2024.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the left wing is going to be more friendly to crypto? Because it looks like you had some people I mean, it's all over the map. Like you have people on the right that are for it and against it, and people on the left that are for it and against it. I definitely feel like there's more people on the left that are hostile to crypto or that are at least loud about it, like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. But I think it's one of those things where they know they can't control it, so maybe they just get on the wave and act like they support it since it's going to be here anyways. Is that what's happening?
I think a lot of people on the left are like, a lot of the tech people, a lot of the people who are like so-called, we're like, we have PhDs or masters, you have higher education, things like that. Those people tend to learn on the left side, and a lot of big tech, right, is leaning towards the left. So I think the left, even if they're again not really forward to like these old candidates and things like that, I think in order to capture that population, I think they will still be for it. But I think the left in general, like just talking about the general population, I probably think they are more crypto friendly compared to the more conservative.
Yeah, here we have the California governor signing an executive order. Basically, what this order does is all these different California agencies, whatever they list, like 4 or 5 agencies, He's signed an executive order so that they all make cryptocurrency regulations. Do you think California is going to screw this up? Are they going to? Because I could see them being worried about the global warming fund and all that. Are they going to make so many regulations? Is this going to be a crypto-friendly state, or how do you think this ends up once these regulations get passed?
I think this is a swan song of a dying state. To be honest with you, they'll do anything they can to get people to want to live there and get positive vibes. But real quick, the last thing that you were talking about, I think that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin, but like cryptocurrency in general, drives a hard line right down the center of both politics. People that are on the right and on the left. So people on the left, they're gonna have an argument of, we want to make sure that people have this and they have that and they can get their funds. People on the right are going to say anti-disestablishmentarianism, less government, right? The people on the left will come back and say less less energy production, this. So like there's an argument on all sides of the aisle, which is great. And I'm hoping that things like cryptocurrency can kind of bring people more towards the center, like bring people together instead of spreading them apart. And I think I think in general, that's kind of what's happening, because if everybody kind of gets along and says, yeah, we all agree this is good, I think that's going to be kind of where this goes, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, like I think my guess is like the fear on the left is that if governments start using cryptocurrency, there'll be a hard cap on the money, but that's not really the case. We know there's a lot of coins that can have an infinite supply. There's thousands of coins like that. If anything, cryptocurrency will allow there to be a more accurate accounting of how much money is in circulation, and people will know how much the money is actually worth. I mean, right now we know that we're in $1 trillion of debt. Really, all that debt number, it's really just an estimate of how much money's out there in circulation, though.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm hoping it's a great binder,
That was
not a
one
great
of the
divider.
arguments
I think
for.
What's that, Myron?
I think he's having mic problems or internet problems. Like I said, I just think I just hope crypto is more of a binder than a divider.
For the
Yeah. Well, speaking of a uniter, well, I guess this guy's more of a divider now. He used to be considered a uniter. Joe Rogan, his mind was just blown by Bitcoin. It's always fun to see Joe Rogan have his mind blown, So yeah, Joe Rogan talked about Bitcoin yesterday, and he's kind of like an Elon Musk or one of these huge cultural figures, one of the biggest influencers out there. And Joe Rogan finally just caught up to the Bitcoin train and said that Bitcoin is a viable form of currency, and he believes that the government is freaking out. Yeah. Do you think, Draco, is this something that you think is freaking out the government?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're having to take stances on it immediately. I mean, I think that it took the government's known about Bitcoin for a long time. Like let's be frank. The FBI has been seizing Bitcoin in cases for several years. Remember the Silk Road and all that nonsense, and use cases for Bitcoin to try to avoid detection and narcotics purchases and stuff like that. So they're aware. They knew this was going on. I don't think they understood how big it would get and how fast it would take on the persona that it has now. And then they had to regulate it because they know if they don't regulate it, they're going to get left behind. And Joe Rogan, he's actually talked about Bitcoin a few times, well, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. He acknowledges that he's not an expert and he doesn't have a lot to say about it, which I think is a smart thing for him to do. He's very, very intelligent on how he approaches topics. And he's just reserved himself and said, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. And, this is kind of where I'm at with it. He's at the point now where he's stopped and taken a look around and decided this is big and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think that this is, I think this is here to stay for a while.
Yeah, he's got $100 million from Spotify. I mean, do you think he's owns some Bitcoin and he just doesn't want to show something that he owns, or he seems like an honorable guy? I think he's the type of guy that if he bought Bitcoin, well, he's not going to want to use his platform to show it.
I agree. I think he will. I think he will not really shill it, but I think he'll discuss it more and more as time goes on. Especially like I'd love to see Michael Saylor get on there and talk to him, right? But you got to remember, Joe Rogan is always been at the forefront of technology. Maybe not always like the first investor, but he's always up there. He plays video games. He owns multiple Teslas. If you've ever seen the technology he utilizes for his fitness and cryogenics and all that kind of stuff, and all the things that he's doing, he's always at the front of technology. So if people don't think that he's involved in crypto, you're wrong. He's involved. He's figuring it out. I guarantee you, he's dabbling in that. Him and young Jamie are over there figuring out how to buy crypto.
Jamie, pull that up. Joe
Pull
was
it up.
Joe was one of the first people on YouTube to do a podcast. I mean, that's how he got so big. He wasn't
Right.
that big of a star before the YouTube thing. He was on a hit sitcom called News Radio. I remember that's the first time I came across him.
Fear Factor.
Yeah, then Fear Factor, he really got big there, and then UFC.
UFC is where he was a household name.
Yeah, so he's kind of like a jack of all trades. And,
The foot.
Yeah.
The foot.
Myron, you're back. We're talking about Joe Rogan and discovering Bitcoin. You think this is a big cultural movement for Bitcoin? Yet another cultural movement?
Definitely, man. I just want to say, man, it's 2022 and the internet still sucks, man. Like, what's the deal? We're supposed to have flying cars already, man. So I think it's gonna be good. And the thing is, his audience, man, he has huge reach, man. And I think a lot of people just like, what I say about Elon has a cult following. I think Joe has a cult following too. So I think if he really talks more about crypto, I think the moment he's like, hey guys, I actually have this. I actually have Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it is. I think a lot of his followers can be like, oh yeah, we gotta buy this now. This is gonna be legit. So it's just more and more of these big voices. Yeah, more and more of these big voices are talking about it.
You got Rogers and Brady. You got John Cena in wrestling. I think The Rock's pumped Bitcoin. You got Elon Musk. You got Joe Rogan. You pretty much have like everybody in every influencer at every aspect of society talking about this, and yet the price is going down. I think eventually, the price isn't going to go down forever. With all these big names getting in, and they're all getting in at a good price too. But this will get baked into the price, I think, in the next 6 months to a year, I would guess.
Here, I'm going to send this to you in the. Do you want me to send it to you in the private chat?
Yeah.
Here, pull this up really quick. So one of the points that he brings up is he compares the internet to cryptocurrency. Okay, now this is a big deal because this is one of the standards that people utilize to describe how many people are going to be involved in crypto. So you go down a little bit. Internet growth. So this is saying that in 1995 there were 16 million people. So it says millions of individuals that were connected to the internet. And obviously you can see it growing, and you see this graph. It goes and goes and goes to where in 2000 there was 361 million people. So that's a lot of people. And then on the right it says world population adoption, right? And it just starts going. So even at 361 million people, that's 5.8. So keep going down. You're going to keep scrolling. If you go ahead and go past this, you're going to see a chart. There you go, right there. So this is a chart that compares Bitcoin adoption to internet adoption. This is what Joe Rogan's talking about. I'm just trying to clarify it for people that might not have heard of this before. So the dark line is the way that Bitcoin's being adopted and like where it's at. And then the other line, the tapered line, is the internet adoption compared to where Bitcoin's at. And what it's trying to show is that it's not going to be too long from now where there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of millions of people involved in cryptocurrency and that are going to be adopting cryptocurrency as a daily thing. We're just at the beginning of that. And it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. They're almost on the same scale. I've also heard people say that cryptocurrency in 10 years has had more people adopt that new technology than any technology in history by far, by a factor of 5, which means that nothing has ever been adopted this quickly in history. So I think that's pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful statement.
Yeah, and the internet was a scary thing to use in 1995. I remember when I was on AOL or whatever, my grandpa had AOL first, and I'd always sign on it. And then one day I let a friend borrow the password. And when they found out I let someone use the password, it was like a big scandal in the family. Like I betrayed the family, So the internet wasn't like something that you just messed around with in the beginning, and crypto's kind of the same way. People are very nervous about using it. It's not like some easy thing yet, but it'll eventually get there,
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% believe that as more and more people get involved in crypto over time, obviously the prices will continue to go up because more money will come in. So just something to think about.
Myron, what are your thoughts? Do you guys remember your early internet days? I mean, it wasn't like you just logged in and you were on
like
the internet.
AOL?
Yeah. It took time for people to get comfortable on the internet.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember all the way up till like when I was in high school going into college is when like Facebook and all that stuff and MySpace was like kind of a big deal, and everybody went because it was quick too. Everybody went from something that was the standard, which was AOL. That's where everybody communicated and like got together and chatted, and then they all went to something completely different, which was MySpace and Facebook. So yeah, I mean, as long as we continue to innovate and move forward, and I think everything will be great. I think it's amazing how quickly everything's changing.
Yeah.
I was
Myron's
playing the
using-
pinnacle. I was playing the pinnacle of gaming back in the days on RuneScape with dial-up. And every time my parents call back home, if it's like the busy tone, they know I'm playing games, man. I get caught
Oh
like
yeah, the busy tone.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or sometimes if somebody called when you were on the internet, you'd get logged off automatically, So there were a lot of problems with the early internet. And there's not nearly, I don't know. It is kind of similar. I think it is a good analogy comparing early internet adoption to early crypto. And, you can find headlines where people are saying the internet's just a fad and stuff like that, in the
Oh
mid-nineties.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
It'll never catch on. And I think I remember, I think my parents paid like a $200 phone bill because I accidentally stayed connected and like left and went to school and like did a whole bunch of stuff, and it just like stayed connected for like a whole day or something like that.
You got rugged by the internet.
Yeah, and $200, which is like equivalent to like $10,000 today. So
Oh man, not good. Well, that's all the topics I had planned. Do you guys got anything else you want to bring up?
no, I think that was some pretty cool topics, and I liked kind of ending on showing people those charts of how many people got into the internet, and how that's almost mirroring cryptocurrency. And I like that chart right there where it shows the price. If you look at it, that one right there, it shows like the price is going up pretty close to what it was, the adoption with the internet. And if you look at it in 2022, where that dotted line is, it's between 10,000 and 100,000. So if this line is correct, by 2025, we're looking at $100,000 Bitcoin. And by, let's see, 2031, we're looking at $1 million Bitcoin. I don't know. Just something to look at.
Wow. Yeah, that is actually one of the most interesting charts I've seen. I never even thought to look this up. But yeah, it is kind of mirroring the 90s, or I should say the 2000s. So yeah, it's very interesting. Myron, you got any parting words for the audience?
No, I think you just have a conviction and stay true to it. Even if you lose, right, you'll know that if it was founded on something rather than just guessing. I'm saying that more so to the market because I feel like I still feel like we're gonna have a crazy rally, not to the all-time high, but we still have a decent rally before we drop. I think it feels like everything's kind of oversold now. I know a lot of people say, "Hey, this is a short. It's time to short," but I think short term. I think short term is just gonna be a bounce. Then after that, hold on tight. This year is gonna be crazy, and I think you should be happy either way. Like if it goes up, your portfolio goes up, you should be happy. If it goes down, gives you more chance to buy the high conviction ones, right?
Yeah, just don't leave the market. Don't walk away. Stay engaged.
Yeah.
And they say before a huge move up, this is Benjamin Cohen, the guy does a lot, just talks about Bitcoin. He has a lot of these charts also. He was talking about usually before a huge move up, there's a capitulation. Basically, a lot of people just say, this is it. Like, I'm done. Like this, a lot of people, I think last week when they looked at the market when it sold off so hard, I think a lot of people left. So they're just like, I'm done. This is stupid. I'll be back in a couple months. But the thing is, there's certain days in the year where any asset really pumps hard, and like if you miss those certain days, like if you're not in the market for those days, you'll miss majority of the gains. And I think
Exactly.
I don't remember the exact stat, but they said like in the past couple of years, if you just hold on SP 500, the SPY, if you just held it, you'll be up like over 100 or whatever percent. But if you miss those big days, you won't be up as much, like 10-20%, something crazy. It's a huge difference. So either you stay in the, like Draco said, stay in the market, or you watch very, very closely to close to the market to find the entry point. A lot of people, they say, hey, I'm going to sell my asset off now and wait for re-entry, and they never re-enter. A lot of people I know, our family friend actually, they sold off like towards the COVID, and they never went in. They never bought in after COVID, so they missed this 100% run on SP 500 because they're just always waiting for a lower price, waiting for a lower price. So if you have a goal, if you're like, hey, if Bitcoin hit 35, I'm gonna buy in. If Bitcoin hit 30, I'm gonna buy in. Then follow through with that play.
Yeah, I agree with that. Draco?
Honestly, I was starting to, I was thinking about what I was going to say, and then it's gone. It fleeted away.
Right,
It's completely gone. I forgot it.
Maybe you'll remember Monday. We'll be back Monday with another show.
Draco's gonna say sell everything you got because Bitcoin's gonna be $1 million.
Oh no! I know what I was going to say. You need to like look at yourself and decide: are you a trader? Which it takes a lot of you have to a lot of education. You have to learn. You have to figure out how all of that works. You really have to kind of be watching the market if you're a trader, or are you an investor? If you're an investor, you're literally putting your money into things that you believe in for a long-term asset, right? You're investing in projects long-term. So if you are going to buy something long-term, for example, like Bitcoin, I've always told people Bitcoin's a 4-year minimum investment. If you plan on selling or taking your money out before those 4 years, choose something different, because that's what type of investment this is. And if that's what you're putting your money into, set your money and forget it, and only just add on to your stack. Don't worry about it. Just keep putting more money into it, because over time is where you're going to make that money. So you have to choose: are you a trader or an investor?
Yeah. If you're a trader, it's a stressful time. If you're a long-term investor, just sit back and it'll eventually come back. And I wouldn't stress too much about it. It's gonna come back. I mean, look at all these people that are getting in it. So.
And the thing is, if crypto really crashes, like Bitcoin goes to zero, then the market is probably dead anyway. So at that point, like there's people say, oh, the markets can crash.
You're gonna have a lot other things to worry about.
Exactly. There's people say, oh, what if we have this nuclear war, the market crashes? Well, if we have a nuclear war, none of this matters anymore, man.
Yeah.
So I think an investor mentality is probably the best mentality to take if you're not good at trading. Trading, most people lose money. I'm trying to learn, but man, it's a lot psychological. It's a lot of kind of try to read it. But the thing is, if you're trading, if you're investing, you should just take emotionally out and that's it. I'm just holding it. I believe in it. I'm holding it. But of course, do your research. Don't hold a meme coin, because you're gonna hold it to zero. But Bitcoin and things like that, it's probably safe to hold it.
Yeah. Well, please hit the like button and share this video when it goes up on YouTube. And we'll be back Monday, 8:30 Central Time. Thanks for joining us, and we appreciate all the comments in the chat.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Have a good weekend.
Night, everybody.